Welcome to New to Medical Device Sales Question and Answer, my friends. I hope you're doing absolutely amazing on this Tuesday. So excited to have you all and can't wait to help you guys learn more about medical device sales, breaking into medical device sales, and just everything you need to know just to get started. So, how I like to start all of these is make sure to drop down in the chat where you guys are from, because I love learning where you guys are from. We actually just did our new to medical device sales meetup here in Scottsdale, Arizona this last week. And we had people come in from North Carolina. We had people come in from New York, California, Colorado, Ohio. It's always fun just to see people come in from all over the United States. So would love to see where you guys are from, because it's always the absolute best seeing where people are from, seeing where we were able to get a reach. But Mr. Josh, see you're from the Bay Area in California. Absolutely love to see it. Been out there multiple times. I always love enjoying going out there. Harpreet from Canada, love it. Loves it. We work with a lot of people from Canada. I actually just talked to a company out there a couple of weeks ago. So always working with people in Canada. It's a lot of fun. I've never been. That is the goal, to get out there eventually, but absolutely love to see that we have people not only in the USA, but also outside. It's always fun to meet with you guys and just learn more about your journey. But no matter if you're in the United States or if you're outside of the United States, we're going to be able to help you guys. It's been fun for me. I've been able to help people. I've gotten a lot of messages. We've helped people break in Canada, in America, in the UK. We've even had Italy. Australia is a common one we've helped people in. And so at this point, it's been just a lot of fun being able to help people come from all over the United States and also the world breaking into this industry. And even though sometimes it's a little different in certain specialties, overall, in certain countries, it's going to overall be really similar, because medical device sales is always going to be a very, very competitive field. But that's what we're going to go talk about today, is breaking into medical device sales. But before we get into that, I want to give you guys a little bit of background of who I am. And because some people understand and have seen some of my stuff, some people haven't. It's the first time. So I just want to give you guys a little bit of background of who I am. So just understand, I'm originally from a small town in Iowa. I decided I wanted to expand my life, moved out here to Arizona with $1,200 to my name, and got into fitness to start my life and to start my journey as a young adult, and did that for several years. And then got into a point where, I was working all the time, working 70 plus hours a week and making about $50,000 a year. And then I had a couple of my clients come up to me, and one of them was like, "Hey, have you ever considered medical device sales?" And I was like, "No, what is that?" And then she started telling me about what she did. And then she started telling me, at 27, 28, she was making over $200,000. And I was like, well, I'm working way more than that, and I'm making way less than that. And so that just spiked my interest. And then from there, we started talking about, what is it? What does it entail? And that took me down this journey of what is medical device sales. And that's where a lot of you are probably at. And then what that took me down to was reaching out to a lot of people, getting told to go get B2B sales experience that I would never be able to break in without blah, 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 right? And I was just like, okay. But I also had a lot of people that I was working with that were doing very well in just their businesses being here in Scottsdale, that they're like, hey, no, this is all you need to be able to do. And that took me on the journey, reaching out to thousands of people and getting on calls with hundreds of people. And that led me to get 4 job offers from Stryker, J&J, Zimmer, and then Medtronic. I took a full line rep role at 25 years old, skipping the associate sales rep role. And then I took that position. It was the lowest performing territory, and I took it to top 10 in my first full fiscal year. And then because of that, got headhunted by a company out of the UK called Innovis Medical. I then ran the whole Western United States, and then had a lot of success there. While doing that, I documented the whole journey, and then have helped now over 2,000 people break into medical device sales. It's a really great moment for us, and I absolutely love being able to help you all. And we are able to help you guys break in. We actually just got Trey, shout out to you, 24 years old, hired at $160,000. It was a base of 128, OTE of 160, gets a car, gets everything paid for. Just got Kevin hired at 115. Shout out Kev, to where he's uncapped commission. And so what we really focus on is not only helping you all break into medical device sales, but how to actually get in at over six figures. Because again, there is a lot of gaps and differences that we will talk about today. And so now that's what we do is we help great individuals who not only want to have a more fulfilling career, but also want to help people go get into an amazing industry that does that, but also not only impacts others, but it also impacts their own life for a better work-life balance if they do it the right way, and then also better financial gain for them. Again, we work with people who normally aren't making six figures, and we help them go into the six-figure world. And just to address that, a lot of people will always be like, well, what's it about money? It's not all about money. And again, life is not all about money, but money is one of those things we have to have in life. And with people, yes, you could go start in this job at $60,000, but it also comes into working 365, 24/7, being on call, working way early hours. They'll make you work on the weekends, and then going in that aspect of now you made 60K when, like we just said, Trey, like 24 years old, making 160 grand, that's life changing for him and his family and his future family. And that's our goal. And that's what I'm just going to just preface today as well as what we're going to talk about is not common, but that doesn't mean it's impossible, right? Many times when people don't think they can do something, they just say, oh, it's impossible, or, oh, no, that doesn't work. All we try to do is show you the proof that it does work. So just want you guys to know that's who I am. I'm somebody who just loves to be able to help people break in, change their lives. And there's truly nothing better than getting the calls from all the people we work with, just being so happy that they now will not only have a better career that they've always wanted, but also financially be in a spot where they're not worried about taking a trip or, helping their family out and things like that. So that's who I am. But where do I start if I want to break into medical device sales? So many of you are probably like, how do I break into medical device sales? What is medical device sales? And where do I even start to get my start in this industry? Well, the first thing you have to understand is this industry is truly like no other. You get the opportunity. Like yesterday, I just interviewed one of our surgeons who literally is doing surgery every single day and then also has 10 businesses, also being extremely busy, but is someone who talks about relying on the rep, aka in medical device sales. You're in the OR room helping the staff, you're helping the doctors, you're being an asset inside of that OR room, actually making somebody's life better, right? And that's what medical device sales is all about. And there's a lot of different divisions, which some you could be in the OR, some you might not be in the OR, right? It really depends on what division and what company you're going to work with. But you have to understand this industry is truly like no other because the average rep is going to make $177,000, right? And they get their car paid for, or they get a car stipend, and et cetera. We can go off on all the benefits. But why I preface it with that is because everybody wants to break in and make over $150,000 and wants to have a good work-life balance and wants to be able to work with surgeons and doctors and great people. And so for you, what you all need to understand is this is an extremely competitive career. On average, you're going to be going and doing 5 to 7 interviews, 6 to 12 weeks long of the process. You're going to go up against 500 plus people. And this is not a process where what you used to do, AKA just apply, did 1 or 2 interviews and get a job. That doesn't work in medical device sales, especially because I just actually had a talk today with somebody where they're like, well, it's always worked for me in the past doing it that way. But I was like, yeah, but you've also never made more than $70,000. And the starting position that you're going for is $130,000, which is a whole different frame of mind and also competitive. You have to understand that a lot of people want that job. And so you're going up against not only people who normally want to break into this industry, but a lot of them might already be in the industry. They just might work at another company. There's a lot of times when you guys are going for these jobs, you're like, oh, an associate sales rep role for Medtronic, for example. Well, guess what? Guess who wants to work at Medtronic? All the other people who are in med device sales at smaller companies that want to work for Medtronic. So they might already have medical device sales experience. And so you have to just understand the landscape that you're truly walking into. That's why you need to focus on being able to stand out and understand that this industry is not your average, hey, I'm just going to go apply and get a job, right? And that's what brings us into the second part of why applying isn't enough. Why can't you just go apply? Because many of you have probably applied and then you get a rejection letter within the first couple of hours, or you just never hear from them. You get ghosted. Why does this happen? Because going back to when they're getting 500 to 700 plus applications per job posting, they have to do a lot of weeding out. Also, they do have AI in that they're looking for certain language, words, numbers, percentages that are going to have people stand out. That's number one that you have to understand. Just applying is not going to get you anywhere. Now, let's just say you do be one of the lucky people and you do apply and you do get an interview. Well, here's the thing. Now, what's making you stand out to the 500 other people? Or let's just say they bring it down and they're only interviewing 50 people. Well, what's having you stand out from being one of those 50 people against all the other human beings who might already know the manager or might have been put up as a recommendation, right? And so, what you guys have to understand is just putting an application in for this position isn't going to have you stand out. You actually need people who are going to want to go and pull for you. They're going to have to be saying, hey, I think Jacob's a great person, because what we always talk about is do the job to get the job, right? Many people don't even know what the job requires. But going back to once you're in medical device sales, you can't just always go up to surgeons or hospitals or staff that says, hey, like, this is the product I sell. This is why you should use us. They're going to be like, great, no one cares. But if you can have a surgeon go talk to another surgeon, or if you can have the surgeon go to the supply management or whoever you're going to talk to, that's materials manager, you can actually have them push your product to maybe get a trial or get more bought. So you have to understand you need to find out how to have champions in this world. And that's why just applying and just saying, hey, I hope it works out, or reaching out to one person isn't going to be enough. It's why you actually need to really focus on networking the right way. And so, how do you actually network properly, right? How do you get someone where you reach out and you send a message or a connection and then send a message and then actually have them be like, I want to get on a call with you. You get on the call with them, and then you're so impressive that they're actually telling you about opportunities, or they're actually getting you into interview processes and being your champion. And so, first thing, let's talk a little bit about when you're networking. The biggest thing that I see a lot of people do is they do what we say not to do on a lot of our podcast is, hey, can I pick your brain? Right? You just have to understand when you're breaking into medical device sales, this is a very professional setting, right? You're working with people who are going to be with surgeons, right? It's a very regulated area. It's a very professional setting. So saying, can I pick your brain, just doesn't start off with a very professional setting, right? And then for yourself, what I watch the most common mistake, and I talk to reps and managers who are getting on all these calls as well, is they have people who get on a call with no agenda. They have no plan. They just get on a call and saying, hey, I was hoping you could just tell me about some jobs. I was hoping that you could just tell me a little bit about something and then maybe put me up for a position. And you need to understand why that doesn't work is because you're talking to people who truly worked really hard to be in their position. And it took them a lot of grinding and a lot of time and a lot of rejection. And now what you're doing is saying, hey, can I just have all of this answers, or can you just put me up for all of this? And I want you guys to just really focus on how are you going to be the one that stands out. Now, one of the things I wanted to just say is if you guys haven't, make sure you drop your questions in the chat. And then at the end, we're going to be able to answer them. But make sure you start putting them, because we're going to pick the best questions and then we're going to answer them live at our live Q&A, right? So I wanted to put that. But going back into the networking is you can't just have yourself reach out, say, hey, I'm interested in med device sales. Do you know of any jobs? Because that's not what's going to have you stand out. Literally everybody is doing that. But can you get on a conversation with them? And can you be so impressive that this rep is like, wow, I know this person, no matter what, is going to be successful in the industry. And they're showing that, not just telling me they're going to be successful, but they're showing multiple things that show me that they're going to be successful in this industry. And then they're so impressed by your conversation that they're actually asking you if you're looking for anything, or if you know about this position that was just opened up, right? Because you need to understand in medical device sales, no one is ever going to put you up for a position that they want their name aligned with you if they're not impressed by you. So you need to really focus on how do I actually get with these people and have the best success. But that's going to kind of go into utilizing LinkedIn, right? For you all, you need to understand LinkedIn is extremely important for your journey to break into medical device sales because it's like your online resume. It's going to be having you actually have your profile picture. You're going to be able to put your like online resume on, and they're going to literally click on your profile, and it's the first thing they're going to check out. And if you don't have an impressive profile, nobody's actually going to look at you, right? They're going to just say, oh, this person doesn't have that much experience or they haven't put that much effort in. And there's going to be a drop off. So, what I want us to focus on is like, how do you utilize LinkedIn the best to have yourself stand out? Number one, for your profile picture, you need to make sure that you have a professional profile picture. It can even be done with a new iPhone, they have great cameras on it. But many times I'll see people that are just in regular clothes, or they might be putting themselves at a sporting event, or they might even put themselves at a wedding, but you can tell like there's alcohol in the photo. And you just have to understand, again, you are coming to a very professional setting. So what you want to really focus on is, can you have a really good headshot? Can you actually go and even stand by a white wall and just dress professionally, put a button up shirt or dress or whatever it would be in a professional suit, and have yourself take a good photo? That's going to be the number one, because again, that's the first thing they're going to see. Then from there, when they go to their about section, what are they learning, right? Because many people will put that they want to break into medical device sales, but that doesn't tell them anything about who they're about to learn about. They know that you want to do medical device sales. Everybody reaching out wants to do medical device sales, but what are you doing and who are you to make it that you're going to be a great candidate for medical device sales? Little side tip, for the love of the good Lord, I say this all the time, please do not have open to work on your profile. And why I say this, especially to the people who don't have sales experience, who don't have clinical experience, many people will put open to work. But why this doesn't work is because you're coming into medical device sales, which is known as one of the top industries for sales, right? And now you're supposed to be a hunter, a person that's going to go find deals, hit quota, etc. And now the first thing you're doing is putting, please hand me a job. Please give me a job if you know about it, which doesn't show somebody is an absolute go-getter. So my encouragement to anybody trying to break into medical device sales, please take off of the open to work on your profile, because in the sales world, that doesn't show that you're an absolute go-getter and that you're going to be a stud, because it's just like, hey, can you just hand me a job that you should just give me, even though thousands of people want to do it, right? You need to go prove why you would be wanting to have that job, and you need to prove that you're the right candidate, not that you're just going to go and say, hey, please give me a job. Then once you have all of that figured out, you need to make sure you update all of your work experiences. How you have to look at this is LinkedIn is your online resume. And so they're going to check out, where have you worked? What have you been doing? And this is the one thing I want to encourage you guys is make sure you put everything, because we've helped people who literally were working at a golf course and they were doing all of like cleaning the carts, and they were cleaning the clubs afterwards. But why we talked about that, there were so many transferable skills that were actually really good for medical device sales, AKA they were working out in the heat. They were working at something that's not that fun. They were surviving off of their tips, so they had to do a good job. And then usually they were talking with surgeons, other business owners, other people in the business world, and they were able to show that they were having grit, that they were being able to be hardworking, that they were able to have communications and conversations with these kind of caliber of people, which is what you do in medical device sales. And so just understand, every single one of your backgrounds will be able to be transferable. You just have to learn the right way to do it. Then when it comes into connecting on LinkedIn, because this is a common question I get asked, is do you send a message with them? Do you just connect? Like, what happens there? How do you even connect? So a couple of tips. Number one, there should just be a connect button on their profile if you're trying to connect with a territory manager or a regional manager. But if there's not, sometimes it will say follow, and then you're like, but I want to connect with this person. So if you see the follow button, you're going to see that there's also 3 little dots. Excuse me. Good sneeze of the day. So you'll see that there's 3 little dots. And so if it said follow, and then you want to connect with them, if you go over to the right, you'll see there's 3 little dots. If you pressed on those dots, you would actually scroll down, and about halfway, it would say connect. So you can press connect. Now it's going to ask if you want to send a note. Do not send a note. And here is why. because many people will spend a lot of time writing a note, but here's why it's not the best. Number one, it only allows you to do 300 characters, right? So you can't write a very long message. But then number two, on top of that, why it's not the best is because it goes back into you're already trying to sell yourself before you know if they actually want to talk to you. And so you just have to understand why you just want to connect with these people is because A, you'll be able to connect with way more individuals than if you wrote a message right away for everyone. And then from there, once you do connect with them, you now know that they are giving you the open light or the green light to then come and message them, right? Because what many people do is they'll write all these messages and then they're all like, hey, here's a little bit about me. And then that rep's going to read one sentence and just press decline because they don't really want to connect with them. And then from there, you just spent half your time with not even getting a connection compared to actually go connect with all these people and say you sent out 100 connections and only 50 actually connected. Well, now of the 50 that you have people who are actually open to you sending a message, right? Instead of you getting blocked right away. And then you think about all the time you spent to write those messages and personalize them compared to now, you can just go to those 50 people and 50 messages and shoot those out. So that's a couple tips on the networking. Now, the last piece of that with your message, please add your phone number because many people forget to add their phone number, but now what you just made those reps do is work. And the whole goal of somebody in sales is to make their prospect's life easier, right? So if you're asking for their time, asking for their guidance, asking for their input, you want to make that rep, that manager's life as easy as possible. So put your number there because also for these reps, they travel all the time. They're always driving. They go from case to case, or they might have a case canceled to where they're like, hey, I have an extra 20 to 40 minutes. So I'll just shoot this person a call who sent me a good message. And then from there, you can jump on and you get the opportunity to talk to these reps compared to if you don't, right? Now, let's say you send a message and ask if they are willing to get on a call. And now that person says, yeah, I'm willing to get on a call. Send me your number. Now you have to wait for them to see it. Now they have to write you back the message. Now you have to wait for you to see it. Now you have to send them back the message with your number. And now you have to find another time for them to be available compared to if you just would have sent it in the first place. They literally might call you literally within 30 seconds. So we've actually had that happen, send a message, person got it. And within 30 seconds, they're already on a phone call. So you want to make their life as easy as possible because it's no different once you're in medical device sales. Once you're in medical device sales, you want to make the surgeon's life as easy as possible. You want to make the surgery scheduler's life as easy as possible. You want to help them out because the more resistance you add, the harder it is for you to get the deals done, right? Just for example, like if you go to a doctor and say, hey, would you like to use this? And they're like, yes. And then you just say, sounds great. And you leave. You didn't get an actual trial because now they probably never told the surgery scheduler. They actually never actually went and got it committed. You don't even know what days that would be. And then when your manager asks you, you'll be like, oh, I don't know. Compared to if you actually say, hey, I already talked to your surgery scheduler. She let me know that you have these 3 dates available. Is it okay if we use the next 3 days to trial the product? Yes, sounds good. Or if they say no, now you could go into objection handling and wonder why they don't want to use it. But again, the whole goal is to make their life as easy as possible. And then once you get on the phone calls, this is what we're going to go into next on how do you actually stand out to get a 6-figure job, right? Once you connect with these reps, which everybody does, but what everybody does is they ask for a job. Hey, what do you know? Can you just give me advice? What's your advice for me? Hey, do you know of anything opened in my area, right? That's a guarantee of you're not going to get interviews, that you're going to struggle. And best case scenario, a year from now, 6 months from now, you get a job working trauma, doing 60, 70, 90 hours a week, making $55,000 a year, and you're on call all the time. Like that's the level of, hey, I'm just available and I'm a human being. Because why I share that, it's no different than when you go out on a date, right? If you go out on a date and you just say, hey, why are you here with me today? Like, what about me made you want to get on a date or come out and grab coffee? And you just say, well, you were the only person who responded to me. That date probably is not going to go amazing. And that person probably is not going to schedule a second date because you're now just being desperate and just willing to take anything. But if you did a little research and you're like, oh, I really liked ABC about you, and I thought this was really intriguing, and I wanted to learn more about ABC, that person might be like, wow, they're actually interested in me. No different than when you're trying to break into medical device sales and you're getting on these phone calls. Most reps complain to me about that they'll have people like yourselves reach out to them and they have 0 questions prepared. They have no agenda for the call. They were just hoping that these reps would just let them know about job openings and every opportunity, right? Compared to if you actually want to stand out and get hired at 6 figures, what you have to understand after helping thousands of people do this is you need to understand to be hired at 6 figures, you need to be looked at as a peer. Do they get on a conversation with you? And did you ask such good, intriguing questions that they're like, wow, this person actually knows a lot about what I do? And we probably could slot them in right now, and they might know more than a couple of associate reps that we've had here for 6 months. That's really how you stand out. You have to be the peer-to-peer side, not the, hey, so what do you do? Because again, transparently, you guys, with ChatGPT, you guys can literally just put anything in ChatGPT. You can take a website and put it in ChatGPT and say, tell me everything about this company, and you will get a lot of information. Now, the one thing I want to just say is, will that always be 100% accurate? No. So make sure you check everything. But once you're getting on those jobs and those calls and you're wanting to get those 6-figure jobs, what can you ask to make sure you stand out? Well, number one, the thing that I will always teach and what we always will focus on is you need to learn about the person you're on the call with. With so many people, and I've had these calls before, where somebody's going to send me a message, I read the message, and then I get on a call with them. In the first 10 minutes, they just repeat what they told me about in the message, about their background, how old they are, where they're from. And there was literally one time I had 14 minutes to get on a call, and the person talked for 12. And then I was like, well, I only had 14 minutes to talk and you talked for 12. So like, can I answer one question for you? Right? Compared to if you guys get on the call, do a quick 30 to 60-second summary of who you are, and then you learn about the person you're on a call with, you will be able to find little pieces that you'll be able to build rapport, connect with. And then from that aspect, you can go into building the deeper relationship, asking really good questions. But that's what I think a lot of people miss is most people are so worried about talking about themselves and sharing their experiences instead of the people that you asked for the call, learning more about them. Because if you learn more about somebody, for example, if I talk to a surgeon and I ask a couple questions of like, what made them get into medicine? Where are they originally from? Like, what made them actually make the transition into the division they're in, right? Like they could go to residency. It's all the stuff. I learn about them. I learn about their background, learn about their passions. And then I learn a little bit more about residency. Okay, with the procedures you're using, is it what you learned in residency or have you tried new stuff? Like you ask questions to get to know these doctors and surgeons. That when you get all of that information, guess what you can do? You can learn how to sell to them. Because again, somebody might talk to you about like they got in it and it's all about helping the patients and they don't care about what reimbursement is. That's a different conversation than like the surgeon I had on our podcast yesterday, where it's like we run multiple companies. Like that surgeon might actually care about reimbursement, right? Like you have to understand who you're talking to. So that's the real focus about what you guys need to understand is like when you're wanting to break into medical device sales, you actually have to be seen as a peer compared to literally everybody I'm talking to literally comes in and says, I've been on these calls. They've watched our podcast. They see all of our videos and they're like, yeah, so what's your advice? And I'm like, I don't know you. I don't know anything about you. Well, I just told you 2 minutes of who I am. And I'm like, great, but that's not enough information for me to give you advice. So I'm just going to give you general cookie cutter advice. But if you actually would have come prepared, I actually could have helped you with your exact situation. Because that's what you need to also understand. Reps and managers want to help you, especially reps, associate reps. They want to help you break into medical device sales. They literally coach for a living. They're coaching in the OR, so they want to help you. But if you don't help yourself, it's going to make it really challenging. And then lastly, really going into it is like, talk about follow-ups. How are you going to actually stand out? Because most people, I've been on calls for hours and then won't even say thank you. And so are you sending a follow-up? Are you saying thank you? Can you even name 1 or 2 things about your conversation? Or were you so focused about yourself that you didn't even take notes, that you don't even remember what they said? And then again, goes back to a lot of reps and managers will always complain about people coming in. They come up with a couple questions, but they're just literally checking the box. There's no rapport building. There's no nothing. They just came in, asked 4 questions, got off, didn't send a thank you, didn't mention anything from their conversation. And that's a guarantee that you're not going to get an interview. That's a guarantee that they're not going to suggest you for any job opening. That's a guarantee that if somebody asks them about you, they'll be like, yeah, I wasn't really impressed by them, or I can't remember who that was. The whole goal is you need to be able to stand out. So I know with all of that, I want you guys to be able to ask your questions. So if you haven't, make sure to drop your comments in the chat because we're here to answer all of your questions. But what you guys have to understand is this industry is not like any other. It can't be just I apply and I get to do something else of, hey, I apply, did 2 interviews and I get a job for $130,000 or $105,000 even, right? It's way different than you wanting to be a nurse and just because you have a heartbeat and a certification, you get a job. That's our joke with all of our nurses, right? You have to be able to stand out, and what's going to have you stand out. So we're going to now go and answer all of your guys' questions because I want to make this as beneficial for all of you. So can you share some thoughts about whether medical device sales is a good option for a medical office assistant? That's a great question. So I think it's an amazing opportunity for a medical assistant, and here's why. We've personally helped multiple, a lot more than multiple, but a lot of medical assistants make that change. And why we think it's such a great change for them is normally from experience, medical assistants are only making just over minimum wage or maybe $20 an hour. And they're usually in that $40,000 to $60,000 range. But they also have to deal with a lot of struggles is the best way to say it, and a lot of difficult people. But they have amazing clinical background and they have experience working with these doctors and these surgeons, right? But what they need to learn is how to stand out, how to actually go get these jobs. Like, just so you know, one of our coaches went from being a medical assistant and in under 3 years now makes over $200,000, right? It was truly life-changing. They went from filing bankruptcy to not being that way. We also have, one of our members literally last month, we just got hired. He wasn't even making $50,000 a year. And now he just got hired at over $100,000, right? And so the reason I just share that is medical assistants have great clinical background. They just need to learn how to be able to leverage that to be able to break into medical device sales. Because again, just having relationships with a doctor or a surgeon isn't going to be enough, because just because you have a good relationship with one doctor, right, doesn't mean you get hired by a company and now you can go to that doctor. They'll use you for sure. And then now you bring in a bunch of revenue for them. But I will just tell you that they make great medical device sales reps. All right. Has anyone gone from tech sales to medical device sales, Stephen? All the time. Yep, 100%. We get them all the time because a couple of reasons I can tell you. From tech sales, why we get so many tech sale reps and SaaS sales reps is because number one, the uncertainty in that, especially just understand during recessions, look at like VCs or investing companies. Many times they're going to take out of the tech world, which does on like a bull market. Tech is usually very high, crypto, all the stuff. They'll go into those. But during like uncertain times or more recession-proof times, they're going to go into a lot of times into the medical world, because again, it doesn't matter whether the world is falling apart, quote unquote, or doing well. People are still going to need surgery. People still have health conditions. People still might have heart attacks, right? So it's always a more recession-proof than the tech world, as we've seen a lot of tech companies doing layoffs, especially recently, as we've been on a lot of calls with tech sales. And then also what I hear most common from our reps in the tech space is they thought they were going to like the remote work. They thought they were going to like not being able to like meet with people. But then after a couple weeks, couple months, a couple years, they're like, I found that I like changing my day up. I like having something new. I like actually interacting with human beings, not just over Zoom, and being able to have a conversation. And so, yeah, we've had a lot of people go from the tech world into medical device sales. It is just a way different jump, and it is usually a little more challenging of a transition. But those are the most common things I hear for why people want to break into medical device sales from like the SaaS world or the tech world. Do the job to get the job or have a better chance of landing something, Zach. So just so you know, that's 100%. So what people don't understand is how we're able to help so many people break into medical device sales is talking about when we say do the job to get the job is many people are always going to go into an interview process and say, hey, I can do ABC. right? But like, for example, let's go to the medical assistant. The medical assistant, they're going to have clinical experience, which is great. But the first thing a med device company is going to be is like, but you've never actually sold to the surgeon. You don't have any sales experience. You actually never had a quota, right? You don't know what the sales process looks like. Well, a lot of times what happens is like nurses, clinical people in the background, and will be like, oh, you're right. And then they get defeated. But you have to understand, just like sales is all just about handling obstacles and objections, right? So that's just an obstacle and an objection that you need to handle. And then you're going to be able to be like, hey, and then what we teach, right, inside of our program and what we do here is how to actually have yourself stand out, right? And then actually do the job to get the job. So, for example, if you have an Excel sheet and you've been able to prospect people and have a list, and they say you don't know the sales process, and then you show them a list of people you've prospected, had calls with, dates, times, follow-ups, etc. Now you're going to be able to handle that objection. So Josh, I'm shadowing a territory manager in the OR as a part of the interview process. Any tips? Well, first off, Josh, congratulations. That's amazing. Yeah, a couple tips from that. Number one, we always make the joke, be a fly on the wall, right? Many times, many reps will try to come in and make a voice for themselves or make a name for themselves and want to stand out. But you have to understand when you go into the OR room, that is not your time to stand out, right? Because if you think about it, when you walk in, it's the scrub tech room, right? Where they're getting everything set up. And then when like the circulating nurse comes in, then it's the circulating nurse's room, right? And then if the PA comes in, then it's the PA's room. And then once the surgeon comes in, it's the surgeon's room, right? The whole thing is I've watched new reps or new people trying to make a name for themselves or stand out during that process, be loud, right? And then when they walk out, the people are like, who is that? Like, why are they even talking? So that number one. Number two, I would just make sure that you have a notebook and you're writing down a lot of questions because you need to be able to stand out. And then you can actually ask really educated questions that shows that you're paying attention throughout the process. All right. Are there any divisions that don't require overnight travel or overnight call? Oh, 100%. Yeah, there's a lot of them. So again, that's where it's just doing your research. But again, there's a lot of companies that, can go in. Like, for example, like I was in the GYN division and I almost never had any overnight call, because again, most of mine was minimally invasive. It was scheduled. And then again, overnight travel, I didn't actually like have to travel that much, maybe once every like 2 months, once every 6 weeks. But that was also because I wanted to be there. But there's plenty of reps who want to have done that. But that's also going to be dependent on what division you're in. Because again, for me, like my territory in that, I covered 2 states, right? But there's also some divisions where, like I live in Phoenix, like you'll just cover Phoenix. You don't even leave Arizona, or you might just have the state of Arizona, right? And so they're all just day travel. So yeah, there's definitely different divisions that have that. All right, Jackson. So how do I convince a hiring manager that I may not have sales experience, but in my day-to-day as a mechanical engineer, I have to sell the design in my own services? So first off, Jackson, great. Just so you know, Trey, who we just got hired at 106K, he came from engineering. So work with a lot of engineers to make that transition. But one of the things I want to help you with is instead of you trying to convince a hiring manager, how about you show the hiring manager that you may not have sales experience? And what I mean by that is, again, many times going back to what I say, do the job to get the job. Many times you're going to be just, hey, you don't have this. And then all you're going to do is, well, I do. And then it comes a verbal transaction of like, you're just trying to go back and say, hey, I can do this. But if you actually showed them the process that you understood sales, you understood that you do have, like, for example, they're going to say you don't have sales experience, right? But you're selling your designs and your own services, but you have to be able to show it in a certain way of like, okay, how are you selling in medical device sales? What is that process like? Then being able to transition that into selling your designs and your own services, that's going to be the exact same way, but they need to be able to like have it hit, if that makes sense, on how you portray it. So I think that's the biggest thing is, again, what we are always teaching, instead of trying to convince or just, again, that becomes talking, right? I'm trying to show you or tell you why. It's going to be just showing them, right? And then also, if you have a bunch of people saying how amazing Jackson is, that you've networked with and talked to, like that will make your life a lot easier as well. All right. Is it possible to shadow a medical device rep to see if you'd like this career, or is there any way to know if you'd like this career? So a couple things. great questions. So many times medical device reps won't do a lot of like quote unquote what's called field rides. Some companies might do that in the interview process, but many times medical device companies won't just do a field ride, or a rep won't do it because a couple of reasons. Number one, the hospital, surgery centers, all of this is very highly regulated, and they can't just bring random people into the OR. You have to usually get a bunch of vaccinations and all of that aspect of it. You have to be certified and like go into the hospitals. You have to like get registration. So a lot of times they're not just going to have you come in. Couple things I would just say. Number one, if you guys go to our YouTube, new to medical device sales or Jake McLaughlin, you'll see I literally documented the whole journey. We literally have day in the life. So I literally document me going from personal training to breaking into medical device sales, and then me being a rep for years, and then going into being a manager, and me being a manager now to helping people. So we've documented the whole journey. So hopefully that can be extremely helpful for you, so you could actually see what a day is like. But also, I think what it always comes down to, if you would like this career, most people always tell me like, hey, what would I know if I'd like? But most of the times, three things I've ever learned when talking to human beings, it comes down to what's the work-life balance that you're looking for? What's the actual financial stability that you can have and like the growth with that? And is there growth in a career? And does it align with like feeling fulfilled, right? Like many times people want to tell me, I want to do something that I really care about, that I can help people, that I don't do the same thing every single day, that I make a really good living and I can make an impact and know that I'm changing people's lives. Like that's the most common four things I hear. And I'm like, medical device sales does all of that. It's just going to depend on what division you go into. But again, many times for you trying to decide if this is the career for you, I just want to encourage every single person, as everybody thinks it's like, I just like wake up one day and I wanted to be a salesperson or a doctor or whatever it is. And that's usually not it. It's like many of you have very good backgrounds, or you have a lot of attributes that you could go anywhere. But the real question that most people never actually do, that I'm going to challenge you all to do, is what do you actually want your life to look like? And again, from us, and especially medical device sales, it comes into, I want to make an impact and I want to feel fulfilled in the products that I'm selling and believe in what I'm selling. I want to have a big impact and be able to help more than one or two people. I want to be able to have a really good work-life balance, right? I want to be able to grow in my career. And then on top of all that, financially, I don't want to be an hourly paid employee. I want to have the opportunity to work hard, but if I work hard financially, I will be reimbursed. That also allows me to live a different life, because again, going back to where the average rep makes 177 grand, by just doing that, you are going to be in the top 10% of Americans, which will have you stand out. And then a lot of times they're working with surgeons and doctors and people of that sort. So that's what I would encourage you to challenge when you guys are looking at, like, if you'd like it, because again, this industry is so broad that like you might tell me, I don't like blood. Well, there's plenty of opportunities and divisions where you're not dealing with any blood, right? Like where you're not even in surgery or in OR. So like there's a lot of different places to go inside of the med tech medical device sales world. All right, Grace, any advice for a rising college student on wanting to break into the field after graduation? Any specific jobs, certifications that would help? Or are there any specific companies that you recommend for new grads? So Grace, a couple things. Number one, no specific certifications. Certifications will literally do nothing for you in this industry, because I've helped people go from bottle services to break into med device sales. We've helped people go from personal training. Certifications won't do anything for you on this. You actually just have to get the job. That's number one. The one thing I would just say is networking earlier than later is always going to help. Like the people we work with, like we've helped so many college students, and you can watch the podcast, land jobs weeks and months before they actually graduated. But it's because they did it the right way, got multiple offers, leveraged those offers, but it's because they're networking the correct way. So that's what I would encourage you. But also like new grad companies, I would not say, hey, yeah, you should, if you want to go to a new grad, you should go this, because a couple of reasons. Number one, everyone talks about age, but age means nothing. Like we've got a 23-year-old hired as a full line rep at 170 grand. We got a 24-year-old hired at 160K as a full line rep. Like age means nothing. Maturity and skill set means everything, because I've met 50-year-olds who are immature, right? That couldn't do this job. And so what you have to understand is you just need to change your mindset a little bit, Grace, is like, hey, any companies that you would recommend, like if there's a company that's just for new grads, I don't know if I'd be pushing them towards that. Just because again, that means they're probably going to have a very high turnover rate. They're not going to be there. Like there's definitely companies I know that are like, hey, you probably won't see someone there for 2 years or more. But then I would tell you that the culture or the products, all that stuff's probably not that good. And I probably want to push someone towards that. I would just challenge you on where's a company that has a lot of success, that maybe has a longevity, that's really one of the top. And then how do you become the candidate to actually go get placed and get hired at that instead of finding a company that's just taking anyone that has a heartbeat and just graduated. All right. Yep. So just like one of our people just said, there's not going to be just one solution. So wanted to get into this grad from the start, but no one accepted me because of lack of experience. I then got a job in dental, which helped me transition into dental. So yeah, so you can always go into that role of doing dental. Again, and that's there's nothing wrong with it. We just transparently, most of the time for us, will focus on just getting people into medical device sales because we still work with people in the dental space, that go into other realms, DME, that still are trying to struggle. They still struggle and are trying to break into medical device sales. So just want to put that out there. So Marissa, biggest hurdle is having no sales experience, but having the clinical background. So Marissa, just so you know, very common. You're going to hear that, but it's actually not a hurdle at all. You just don't understand how to transition your background. Because a couple things. Number one, as a clinical background, like for our nurses all the time, you literally sell every single day. You're selling to the doctors, you're selling to your patients, you're selling to the patients' families. Like you actually are doing a lot of selling, right? Persuading, but you just have to know how to be able to transition that. They're always going to tell you, and again, it's just an obstacle or objection that you don't have the sales experience that they're looking for. But the reality of it is you just need to be able to show, right? Not just tell them that you could do sales, but like show them why you would be a really good candidate. And for you, again, we just got a nurse, like we just had a TikTok go viral, like Kyle, shout out, just got hired at $175,000. Like base was 115K. And then his OT is 175. Like he was a nurse, but what did he do? He was able to show that his past experiences would help him excel in the current role and that he would be able to use his clinical experience to be able to benefit the team, be able to benefit the patients and be able to help the territory grow. So it's just learning, Marissa. You have a great background. If you have clinical, we've helped so many people with clinical backgrounds. It's just being able to overcome the no sales objection. And then number two, with that aspect of it, I can just tell you, Marissa, is the hardest part for clinicals is most people in the clinical background or clinical space currently, they've always got a job because they did one interview, right? Like even medical assistants, hey, interview, 2 interviews. Do you want the job? Sure, I'll take it, right? That's not medical device sales. You're going up against hundreds of people who probably are more quote unquote qualified than you. And you're going to have to show why you're the best candidate. And then if we're going to clinical, whether it's physical therapist, speech language pathologist, occupational therapist, nurse, you have to understand every single one of your colleagues and other people throughout the United States with the exact same background and maybe more experience are going for the exact same positions because they want to get out of where they're currently at. So it's just learning how you're able to share your background and why you're the stronger candidate and being able to, again, when they say you don't have sales experience, that's just an obstacle that you need to have a really, really good answer with examples to handle so you can actually move to the next step. All right. Absolutely love to see this from Chris. Started in med device sales as a clinical specialist a year ago at a startup, and it's been amazing. Received an offer from Boston Scientific as a clinical specialist with more pay. I'm struggling to know if I should switch. Advice. First off, Chris, shout out. Congratulations, man. That's absolutely amazing. Here's the biggest thing that I would say. I've worked at both. I've worked at Medtronic, a bit massive, the number one company in the world. I worked at a startup. I think there's a couple things that always come into this. Number one that I always focus on is like, what is your actual goal? Like, what do you want to achieve in medical device sales, right? Because here's some of the pros and cons, right? If you go to a big company, you might get more perks of higher pay, better benefits. It might be able to like get a car, like stuff like that. But then just understand, like, it may move way slower. For example, you want an answer, you're going to email, you might not get it for 4 to 7 days, right? Like they might not give you the upside of like, for you being at a startup, what happens if your startup gets purchased? You know, Boston Scientific just got Axonics, right? Like they purchased them, right? So like in that aspect, the people at Axonics just got a payout, right? So like what's your risk reward? What is the goal that you're trying to, and then what's your career goals? Because it really just depends on where you want to go. For me, why I left, and I can just share my personal experience, why I left Medtronic was because for me, I had been at a top company, had success. But for me, I moved out here with $1,200 to my name. I was able to run my own personal training business while working at a gym. Like I had more of an entrepreneurial spirit myself, as we're doing this. And for me was like, hey, I love the opportunity of going to a startup, having the upside and being able to like have more risk, but also like higher returns and like have maybe a little more freedom compared to being at a massive company, right? That the flip side of that is like, hey, when you're at a startup, not many people are going to know who you are. You might have a harder time getting into hospitals or even getting certified or being able to like even just walk in as a vendor, right? Like a lot of times with startups, there's a lot of challenges, right? They'll tell you, hey, the product's ready. And then 3 weeks later, the product's still not ready, or they had a problem, even though you guys just made a sale, right? Like, or there's a new update, or there's a new change, or they have to raise capital, or are they running out of capital? Like, there's all the pros and cons. So Chris, I can't tell you exactly what you should do for your situation since I don't know you, but I can just sit here and tell you, first off, you're in, which is great. It's going to just more come into the conversation of, like we kind of talk about, work-life balance, opportunity for growth, financial outcome, right? I think those are the three things I hear the most, but I think it comes into what you would feel the most comfortable with. All right. What kind of jobs do you recommend to do during college to help me build my skills and resume? Matt, this is a great question. So, a couple things I always encourage you guys to do is number one, I would always encourage you to go get a sales job, whether it's even door to door during the summer, even just working some job that you can during the school year that is some kind of sales. I will tell you, door to door is absolutely not the funnest thing to do. You'll probably get cussed at and have the cops called on you, but it will teach you real sales. It will teach you a lot of grit. There's going to be a lot of lessons that come from that. But I also think, volunteering at hospitals or doing something in a hospital or a clinic just to learn and get relationships, I think is always a strong thing of just being able to, go try to get some sales experience, maybe go try to get some clinical experience, and then just continue to network. So I think that can be helpful. Do medical device sales hiring managers care about GPA? I imagine they do to an extent. Like if you probably have like a 2.0 or anything below, they might not be too impressed. But honestly, med device companies really just focus on you having a 4-year degree. So that's really the main focus with us. So I just want you to just understand. But you guys, I just want you to know I'm so excited for you all because you guys asked some really great questions. But what I want you to know is you asked some questions that lead into, what are med device companies looking for? What are some opportunities? I want to make sure that we provide you with as much value as we can. So I just want you guys to know, we're going to drop in the chat right now for you guys a link that allows you to go get a list of hundreds of medical device companies. And what we've done is, going back to what Chris said, hey, what are some of the big companies? What are some of smaller companies? Like everybody's going to have a different fit. So I wanted to put that together, but also inside of that PDF, it's also going to break down like what are some of the best divisions, what are going to make the most money, what's going to make less money, right? Like what are some of the top divisions that we see our people go into? And so just so you know, we put that in the chat for you all. So if you guys go click there, that will be able to help you get in and just have an understanding. So I'd love to see you guys post just a thumbs up or got it, just so we can see that you guys are getting it. Because also for our end, just for my team, if we see that you got it, we want to make sure that we're able to ensure that you did get it. So just in case anything happens, we'll be able to go back later and make sure that you did receive it. So as you go through that, just put the thumbs up. But what that's all for is just making sure that you guys are getting resources, because we know how hard, like where do you even start? What are some of the companies? Like what is a big company that you should go to, right? Like should you go to a startup? Like there's so many. And so we kind of broke that down through that aspect. Now, number two, what I wanted to let you guys know is the big thing that I always hear is, how do I break in at 6 figures? How do I actually stand out? Well, for me, I always want to try to add as much value. And what you guys have to understand, even just meeting with our members this last week, is the biggest challenge for most people to come in at over $120,000 is it's first their mindset. They actually don't know what it's like. And what many people think is they're like, oh, I'll just get this job and then I make this much money. But what you guys don't understand is it's actually, you become the candidate and the version to where the company's like, oh my gosh, we can get them for only $100,000 or $120,000. That's a steal. That's why we put together our mindset course that will drop in here as well, that I want you guys to just be able to have. And if you guys have any questions that come with it, that you guys will be able to see really affordably, like, hey, this is what you're going to do to actually make yourself stand out. This is what you're actually going to do to have yourself be a top performer. Matt, love that you're able to get it. And then lastly, my friends, what I want us to really focus on is if you guys are truly ready to make that change, or you just want to learn more about where you're at in the process, we always love having our team being able to jump on with you guys, learn more about who you are, learn more about your background, and see, can we help you? Or if not, we will give you pieces of advice, send you podcasts, send you resources that will continue to help you break into medical device sales. So we're going to drop in the link as well right now, where you guys can go and schedule a call with our team. And it will be our team getting on calls with you just to learn, are you ready to break into medical device sales? Is this your career? Many of you guys are also going to have questions and be like, hey, what's the difference between this division and this division, right? Should I go make the jump? But also, if you guys are really truly invested and want to break into medical device sales, like again, our average person breaks in on average at 8.5 weeks at over $105,000. Again, last 3 people we've gotten hired have ranged between $115,000 and $160,000. And so if you're somebody who's really serious and just wants to learn more, we can always see if it's a good fit. But the biggest thing is for you guys, you can schedule a call to have with our team just to see, hey, what is medical device sales? Learn more, be able to help you guys actually get where you want to go. And then we can also give you a bunch of free resources, because our whole goal for us is to just continue to provide you value, because this industry is truly so special. This industry can truly change your life. And it's an industry that allows you to go change other people's lives. So just want you guys to know, don't need anything from you, don't want anything from you, but we just put out there that we want to put out a list that you guys can go get, where it's a PDF of you getting all of the resources of medical device companies. Where do you even start? Where should you go? If you guys are really serious about breaking into medical device sales at over 6 figures, we put together that mindset course, which is really cheap, like really affordable, that you guys can just go, and it's going to make it so it allows you to get in the right mindset. And I will just sit here and tell you, I've had so much feedback of like, inside med device sales, but outside of med device sales, I'm just teaching you guys what it's like to go from not making 6 figures to making high 6 figures and being able to stand out in medical device sales. And then also putting in, if you guys are really wanting to just learn more about medical device sales, see how it could be a good fit for you. Also, if you guys are truly ready to make that jump into medical device sales, but you don't want to do it alone and you don't want to just keep trying to figure it out, you can always schedule a call with our team, which is down below, where they're happy to get on calls with you guys, learn more about you. They can also send you way more free resources that are going to help you through this journey. And just understand that we are here to help you in every single way, and want to just make sure that you all are able to break into medical device sales, because this career is absolutely amazing and it will make a difference. And then lastly, just understand our next Q&A will be August 19th. So we do them every 2 weeks. We would just want to continue to have you guys come in, be able to schedule calls with us, and come in here and just provide value to you all, so you guys can come in here and actually get on the next Q&A. But again, just so you guys know, I've done this for years. The first podcast I ever did was, hey, I'm a personal trainer, watch this. I've started all of this because I just wanted to help people just like yourself. And if you go to our website and you go to our podcast, you literally are going to see hundreds of testimonials of podcasts of people that were in your exact shoes, now living their dream life in medical device sales, making 6 figures, being able to progress. We just had Sarah, shout out, win Rookie of the Year in her first year, right? Like, it's being able to help people go and change their lives. So when they send me the text, Jacob, it doesn't even feel like I'm working anymore. That's the best. And there's no way to explain when you have a surgeon come and hug you and say, hey, you're the reason that person is alive, or you're the reason that case went great. Thank you so much. And you become an asset to all of these people and these high-end individuals. And then again, you continue to build your network. You get around other reps, other top performers who want to get more out of life, who want to get into investing, who want to not just sit by and barely make it through, but who want to thrive. It's a community that's so truly amazing. And so I just want you guys to know, I'm so pumped for you. Again, just going back, we have all the resources for you guys. Medical device companies you can go look at, mindset course that can help you in so many ways. And also you can go schedule a call with our team just to get more information and see where you're at in your journey, that they can give you free resources. And I just want you guys to know, we want you to win. And I'm thankful that you guys took the time to join us. So we will see you guys on the next one, August 19th. And until then, keep going after your goals. See you on the next one.